my name is Lori, and I am the founder and CEO of Inclusivity. And we are all about taking care of the earth and taking care of each other and selling really sustainable, beautiful products. And this is our podcast. And so tonight on our podcast, we are so lucky to have Heidi Little, who is an amazing musician, humanitarian, philanthropist, and educator, as well as many, many other things. And Heidi, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Lori.
Well, thank you. I was looking at your site again today, Heidi, and I was kind of struck with just how much you do and how sort of broad your reach is. And so if it's okay with you, I just want to ask you a bunch of questions so the people who are listening can learn about you, because I think your mission and your music and your passion are really contagious and important. And so I want our listeners to hear about that. So
awesome.
My first question, so if it's okay with you, I want to start with the music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd just like you to tell me a little bit about you as a musician. What inspires your music? Sort of how did it start? What inspires it? What keeps you going forward with that?
Sure. Thank you. That's a big question.
Yes.
Question. It started when I was knee-high to a grasshopper in a Baptist church that my parents were taking me to. I grew up in a very musical household, like a lot of people's stories. You know, mom was a singer with Kinky D in the UK, and my dad was into bagpipes. So it was a very interesting variation. ABBA and German artists. A little bit of cross-genre funniness there. So I grew up really with my doors blown open. There weren't any cultural boundaries or any of that kind of thing. Everybody was really inclusive and united. And so it really when I was really little, I was singing with this group of people, and I got the goosebumps, the God bumps, the blood lightning, whatever you want to call it, chills. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is totally it. So from there, I played competitive organ for 13 years. And
competitive organ?
Competitive organ. That's
Tell me about that.
Put me in with organ. So, it was amazing though, because you think about it, it's like 3 levels, right? You got 2 keyboards and a set of pedals that you with. And I was just like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, kind of thing, dealing with this big thing. So my bass was really, really strong. And then, I work for love. I work for God. I work for everything that is good and right in the world. And so that's where the songs come from. And that's where my creativity has always come from. I have I guess it's an abnormal story, but I remember being born. So coming into my little baby body out into the world, and that excitement of coming here to do what we're doing in these times and in these days, it's always been intact. So I've always had like just this great joy of connecting with people and knowing that was what I was here for, was to connect with people. And music, and voice, you're like carrying around your soul and your spirit, and you're giving it out and that kind of thing. And so I just serve the song, and they just kind of come through. And it's kind of like when you get a splinter, but it feels really good, not like a splinter, but you have to get it out, right? You have to get it out. So, and that's just the way it is.
So Heidi, for you, do the words tend to come first, or the music, or does everything come at once?
Usually everything comes at once.
Okay.
As well as saxophones and all kinds of instruments I don't play.
So the whole score comes as the score and the words come all at once.
All at the same time.
That must be fascinating and also sometimes challenging, I would think, to get it all down.
Yeah, that, and then, like doing everything else you have to do in your life when all of this music is pouring through your head and your heart 24 hours a day. Yeah.
So how often are you writing? Is it really kind of a constant thing?
Yeah, I'm always turned on and ready. Every day, every couple of days kind of thing. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how often do you record new things then?
I need to go into the studio more often than I do. I have like 4 iPhones full of stuff that needs to be put out into the world. I started a SoundCloud thing where I'm not censoring myself and I'm just letting the music from my iPhone unedited go out to the world because sitting on them is not helping anyone or me. So, it's just kind of like why would you sit on things and make people happy? And I've done that for years because I
Mhm.
want more money to record in the studio or anywhere this blah, blah, blah. But these day and age and the way things are changing, it's just kind of I feel a lot more free about it.
Mhm.
So on Bandcamp, there's a new thing that I'm doing called Live Off the Floor.
Okay.
Just right there, bare bones, recording it and putting it out. And then the SoundCloud's got a couple little nuggets in there too. I just recently got, courageous enough to do it without the help of, producers and
I love
those
that.
so yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's very cool. Do you have, if you look back at the songs you've written, do you have a favorite? Like, do you have a song that you just kind of resonates even every single time?
Lori, I have to tell you, they all do.
Okay.
And I've been accused of being one of those timeless writers. And I'm really happy for that
I was
because,
going to say,
like, thank
not a bad
God,
accusation.
because, and like, I've been really ahead of it too, though. Like, I've been one of those people that's kind of like ahead of her time kind of thing. And so, like, there were records that I was like, my God, like, who's gonna need this or want this or kind of questioning myself and my creativity. But now with the way the world has been and what we're going through now, the songs are even more relevant. But to be specific about what you're saying, the message from Mother Earth, one, I think is one of the most important works I've had the opportunity to sing and to put out. Because I literally asked the planet what she wanted the people to hear. And I literally got the song up through my feet and out through my voice like that. And I recorded it and put it out. And so that's the way, the way that it is. And it's called One, that we are united, we're connected, interconnected.
That must feel like magic.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does. And it also feels like a bit of not a burden, but something that I need to continue to tell people, hey, like, would you play this on your thing? Or, can you share the lyrics or whatever? Because it's still like potent medicine, like
mm,
for people to hear. They not everybody recognizes that we are codependent and interconnected, with our planet and each other. So
so do you have, as part of that, a special relationship with trees?
oh, I love the trees.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just, when you said it comes up through your feet,
Yeah.
for me, that is that, the root system
Yes.
connecting with all
Yes.
of us.
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
love that.
Stuff. Very
I love
important stuff. That's all in my educator stuff too that I do.
Well,
All
and
of that.
that was actually my next question is, besides being a wonderful musician who really feels her music and then puts it out into the world, tell me a little bit about you as an educator. What's
Mm.
that story?
Well, it's always run side by side
Mhm.
with music for the last 25 years, really. So I started right out of high school in 1993, and I've always been a progressive educator. I was hired by the Board of Education back in Saskatchewan to design curriculum that bridged the arts with the basics like science, math, reading, writing, language arts, those kinds of things. So I've been given these opportunities to develop and design curriculum that helps people understand who they are. And we really just got this title, social emotional learning,
Right.
in the last few years. So I just did my master's degree. I finished my master's degree in January of 2019. And just yesterday, the final book out of a 5 sequence book set called Child of the Heart They're all up on Amazon and ready to go out to everyone. So it's all my master's work, which finally got completed. So there's a philosophy, which is essentially my thesis paper, right? Where I wove a lot of beautiful voices in, like Lynn McTaggart and Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer and Gandhi and all kinds of different wonderful folks, Heart Math Institute, all those guys in there to support me, because I had to prove to people. My master's was in how do we teach self-love in education. And so I had to prove to a panel of scholars why love is important, why self-love would be important, and why they should give me a master's degree, right, for this kind of thing, because it's pretty much unheard of. So I broke down some barriers and I did a lot of work. The book is called Child of the Heart, How Do We Teach Self-Love in Education? And so there's the philosophy, which just got completed, the theory. And then there is a meditation and visualization manual called Mending. There is a musical that breaks the fourth wall with the audience, and we breathe together and visualize together and imagine together a new way. And that's called One Love Rising. And in the back of the book has all the social emotional learning activities that we use throughout the production in the backs for the classroom or for the home or whatever. And then there's another one. It's also based on the medicine wheel technique also, because I work with a lot of chiefs and Indigenous elders with my humanitarian work. So my friend who transitioned in 2017, he was the medicine wheel keeper for the whole planet. He did medicine wheels for the last 30 years for everyone. And transition, he gave me the new medicine wheel for the children. And so, because I'm the co-founder and director of International Children's Month, we were working on that together, and he transitioned like a week before International Children's Month. And so I found it very significant that he left me with this medicine wheel. So I wove it into the production. I wove it into the philosophy, into how we can take care of ourselves and our planet and each other with this ancient, very basic, beautiful technique to love ourselves and others. And then so I created another manual called Be the Medicine Wheel Exploration Technique. And so you can literally map yourself or anything you want out in the medicine wheel while restoring the sacred hoop. So pretty
Oh my goodness.
Lori, there's one more. This one, I wasn't sure I was going to put it out, but I ended up putting it out. It's a pre-K curriculum, a complementary curriculum. So, and it's all based on self-love and social emotional learning. So this is like a big deal for me, like talking to you, but I haven't told anybody about this yet. So this is like my first interview sharing, all of this stuff, that it's like the creativity is like off the charts.
Thank you. Thank you for being here to share this with us.
Like it, Lori. I'm just like, because I'm not like a scholar. I'm just a very creative person that understands things, I suppose. And so I hope people don't judge me based on like scholarly levels. I'd rather that they just kind of hopefully get inspired, by what I've presented to them and some options, that I've given them.
So Heidi, could you give me, in this very brief time, tell us something that from the books that you would say, I want everybody to know this. If I just take a first lesson that I want people to know, what would it be?
The first lesson is so basic, Lori. Oh, well, there's three really, can I give you three really
You
basic?
can give me three.
Okay, three basic ones. Okay, so first, breathing in the love and breathing out the love. And I know I've been saying this stuff for 10 or 15 years already, but I never got to write it down. So a lot of what I'm saying is going to be and already is common knowledge now, because on social media, I talked about it. I spoke about it. I taught it. I sing it. But I wrote it, and I made it really real and really viable for public people, public schools, community schools, like people in the general public who don't talk like this to understand. So breathing in the love, breathing out the love, and really you can breathe in anything you want, but the breath is so important. And as a singer, of course, breath. And then the second thing is a seed of light in our heart, and lighting that seed in the heart, right? And letting that seed fill you and take care of you, and that is like the main, the intro. Why aren't people taught that stuff in the very beginning when they're like 1 or 2 kind of thing, So it's like, those are my 2 favorite things. And then the third is that your heart is 7,000 times stronger than your mind. So if we can really get in there and feel different, whatever it is, feel balanced or feel in alignment. Of course, feeling in alignment, but there's a lot of people out there thinking a lot of things right now. They don't know what is going on. And it's really easy to get sidetracked. And so I think it's really important in these times, especially for people, just to stay in their heart and to use that light and that love, to help them heal themselves in their world.
Yeah. What I love about that, Heidi, is that it's so much easier to feel that light in your heart and to feel that love when you're breathing.
Oh, yeah.
Conscious attention to your breathing. I love that you put them in that order, because I think that's sort of the first piece is breathe consciously and breathe in good and breathe out good.
Yeah, sure.
Really beautiful. So
yeah.
I think those books sound fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
They're available on Amazon. And are they for educators, or are they just for everybody?
I think they're for everybody. Like Masters was geared towards the question of how do we teach self-love in education. However, isn't education gone so interesting right now? We have all these mommies and daddies at home with their kids who never in a million years thought they would be.
Yeah.
So here we go. Here we grow. Like, I couldn't have called this for nothing. Came out of left field. So yeah, everyone's an educator right now, aren't they?
So Heidi, that actually brings me to a question. As you were talking, I was thinking, for you, what's the importance or the connection between releasing this now, which I know was planned before, but it is a special moment, and so it seems like having this released right now is something. So what is that?
Honestly, Lori, I'm not sure yet, because it's a culmination of a lot of years of dedication and contribution. And I never expected anything in return. You know what I mean? It was always, that's just the way that I wanted to be in the world, and that's what I wanted to share in the world. And so, now, like, I have these products kind of thing too, so it's like, interesting. Okay. It's like, and now also with what's going on, speaking to people about them.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be a very interesting journey, from now till forever, is speaking to people about them. And we have a revolution. We have a conscious revolution going on. But I know that a lot of the people who are speaking to these things, they haven't been doing it for 25 years. So, it's all very interesting to me. I'm just becoming settled with it, really. And I'm really very humble about the whole thing, honestly. I'm not sure exactly how to say what I need to say to people about it, because I've never been in this position before. And our world has never been in this position before. So, God bless us.
You're still figuring it out. Like the rest of us, you're still figuring out what does this mean at this moment.
Yeah. I know it means saving lives.
Mhm.
I know it means helping mental health.
Yeah.
I know it means coming together more in unity and people understanding how. There's many, many, many benefits. How do you tell people all that? And 5 books at once?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a
Whoa.
big it's a big offering you've brought out to the world.
5 books at one time, Lori. Oh my goodness. So
You know,
I'm
it's
gonna,
oh,
yeah, go for it.
no, go ahead.
I'm starting with just getting everything on the author page so that if people can find it all at once instead of having to go search it out. Right now, it's in pieces all over the internet, like all over their Amazon. It's all different places. I'm like, okay, well, how do I get it here?
Mhm.
No, it's interesting. And it's interesting that I self-published all this work too.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I just wonder.
I What's wonderful is hearing you talk. There's no doubt that you're gonna figure this out, and that's part of it. Part of it
Thanks.
is that path to figuring out what's next, and clearly, the way your life has been, you listening to your music as it comes to you, this is just that next thing of
Yeah.
you hearing it, and you will.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Don't
appreciate
have any
your
doubt.
confidence. Yeah, that's
Yes,
how I where we're at with humanity too. You know what I mean? I know that
yeah,
we're going to figure this out, and I know we're going to be okay, and I know we're going to come out better too.
I
You know?
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Heidi, I wanted to bring that then to your work as a philanthropist and humanitarian, which is clearly intimately linked to your work as an
Yeah.
educator.
Mhm.
So, talk a little bit more about the organization that you founded, and sort of what's going on with that.
Okay. All right. So International Children's Month is June.
Mhm.
And in 2013, I received the information to start it. So I couldn't believe it didn't exist already. And, like this journey, I didn't know what it was going to entail or the twists and turns that would happen. So essentially, we have a 365-day a year free thematic activity platform for children of all ages and all nationalities. And 2013 was peace. The theme was peace. 2014, the theme was water. 2015, the theme was earth. 2016, the theme was whole being, body, mind, and spirit. 2017 was game on. How do we play together? 2018 was self love and cooperation in the midst of that master's degree.
Mhm.
2019 was taking it to the streets. And we all know what happened with the children in 2019. So that was amazing and such a miracle. And 2020 is the miracle. This year is the miracle. And so people will find all kinds of contributions from amazing people in each year, in each theme, along with activities and tools and techniques and embodiment practices and things that they can do and think about and consider: planting gardens, saving seeds, seed sharing, how to hold a good circle, tapping, mind over matter, all kinds of different things. Storytelling from Grandma Crossbear. So myself and two elders hold the space for the platform, and it's 8 years now. We have a global wave of love on the 21st of every year, 1:11 p.m. Based on the Fibonacci sequence of divine increments of love. It begins in New Zealand and ends in Hawaii. And our intention is children across the planet in love, care, and respect. And that's our mission
Mhm.
for the whole thing. It's children across the planet in love, care, and respect. And I think that we're getting somewhere. And when we started, it was just like, can we create something better for the children and give them a platform that's greater than like poetry and art contests? There wasn't a lot to go up against. And we have a lot of youth activists who are just amazing people. So I'm grateful to be able to have held space for them, internationally, to rise up that way. Um, and we started with the Earth Guardians, was brand new, and so we put our weight behind those guys when they first started out, and now we've pretty much met everybody. We haven't met Greta, but we've met everybody else pretty much. This is 0 Hour and the Earth Guardians, and we've got amazing ambassadors in Africa. Working for child rights. Abba is one of our main ambassadors over there, and he is working for girl child rights. Tirelessly. Amazing individuals that are just, I could cry thinking into their energy, but it's okay. They're amazing, like with gratitude, just like awesome. So International Children's Month, and then I joined We the World as an outreach coordinator and as their creative director for musical projects in 2017. So we have a 13-song album compilation coming out on April 22nd. 13 artists, 13 orgs, and 11 themes for change supported with that record. And that has been kind of challenging for me, a lot of administrative work and, like making sure that everything was together properly. But now we have like the template, no problem for the next one. We're good to go. And so that's been very rewarding. And I've met a lot of really great people through that organization. And of course, we partner with everybody, right? It's International Children's Month is like, people didn't get it for a really long time. It's circular, it's water. It's us coming together as a river or an ocean. There is no one higher than anyone else. There has been no money go through it at all. It has been completely donated, the entire thing. We had like our elder Bob Challenger, invested, I think maybe $1,500 over the last 8 years. I've put all my heart and soul into it. So I think it's priceless. So those two organizations, and then we founded the Center for Advancement in Social Emotional Learning, which is an educators platform that the mission for that is educators raising the bar for love, care, and respect for all the children on earth. Because I realized that, here we've gone and empowered all the children, but where were their mentors, right? And that was supposed to already have been in there. Before I met the Earth Guardians, I made an Earth Guardian website. But then when I met Shuteshkat, and their thing was called Earth Guardians, I was like, I made this website, Shuteshkat. And he was like, what? And I was like, I know, it's called Earth Guardians. I was going to make it for the elders to mentor the youth. That was the plan. So that kind of, threw us for a little bit of a curveball. We're still coming down off that one, years later. But that platform is to launch the new type of education. There's a lot of people waking up with new skills and new abilities who are educators and teachers, and they're recognizing that other things besides test scores and STAR testing and basic curriculum is really lacking and needs to be re-education, just about, a re-education of how we're teaching our children and our youth and even each other, I mean, especially with like the opiate crisis that we're facing and the homelessness crisis we're facing, everything points back to lack of self-love as far as I can muster, everywhere I've looked. If people loved themselves, they would make different choices for themselves, and I have family members that I wish I would have known this level of thought 10 years ago. I could have helped them too, but I think my main message right now is like, really do reach out and care for your people. You can make a difference. Someone has a problem, like what you're doing with your home. You can make a difference.
You can make a difference. And what I love about what you're saying is that it really ties in to the kindness research that's
Yes.
gone on too, because part of kindness is being kind to yourself
Yeah.
and then extending that kindness out to others. And if you can't be kind to yourself and take care of yourself, how can you possibly do that consistently for everybody else?
Challenge.
You're
Yeah.
talking awesome.
And you say things you wish you wouldn't have said. That's where that part comes from, so like you keep your vibration, if you keep yourself, spiffy,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you can continue to help spiffy everybody else up. It's all right.
One of the things, Heidi, that I just wanted you, if you could think of an example, I noticed on the site that you had specific exercises on miracles. So kind of an exercise you can do to look for a miracle or how to connect with miracles. So can you just very briefly give us one thing that we should all be doing that connects us with miracles?
I think that the most important thing is to be open to realizing that there is a miraculous field, that there is a lot more to us and this place than what meets the eye, and that miracles come through each other. They don't just happen out of thin air. They happen because Lori decides to step out of her comfort zone and do something she doesn't normally do for somebody else. And you become their miracle. Isn't that amazing? It's just that it's such a beautiful thing. And when that happened, it's really like with all my work, it's really a stream of consciousness thing, like connected to source. And like I literally sit down at the end of December, 5 days before January 1st. And I say, okay, when I'm directed, I sit down at the computer and say, okay, what's the platform going to be? I don't know in advance. I say, what is the platform going to be for next year? And it comes out. And then, okay, what does that look like? And it comes out just like the songs, And so really, honestly, I don't take too much credit for any of it.
Well,
other than I'm willing,
Okay. And that's what I was going to say, is that I think you have to take credit for being open to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the kindness and finding yourself and liking yourself and caring for yourself and getting the messages of the earth and noticing when miracles are happening, because we have to be open to seeing them, because they happen all the time. I mentioned to you before we started that I'm here in quarantine with my uncle because I've become his conservator. And I would argue that being able to have this time with him while it's stressful at times and while it is what I was planning, is a miracle to be able to get to know him like this. It's a miracle to be able to spend these precious hours with, I knew my aunt better because I was closer to her. And so to get to know him and be here as his advocate and really, really be his advocate, which is what I should be as his conservator. Yeah, fortunate, wonderful, miraculous change of events.
Sure.
Part of it is looking and being.
Yeah. And I mean, just that word advocate. Yeah. Right? I mean, imagine if we looked at all of the world as if it was something we were advocating for.
I like that.
Yeah.
So Heidi, I warned you ahead of time. You've already told us kind of what's next. Anything else new that's coming up? I mean, you have so much, but anything else?
Yeah, there's something new.
Okay.
It's my 20-year musical anniversary.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So I'm putting out my essential record, like Heidi Little Essentials. So that should be out hopefully next week.
That's awesome.
We'll see. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And you're also performing for us on a concert this weekend, which we're really excited about. Thank
you for inviting me.
This probably won't be up before then, but regardless, if you didn't see it, it will be online somewhere. So anybody who's listening will be able to find that. It'll be on
it'll be on your website somewhere for sure.
So Heidi, I warned you ahead of time that I was going to ask you just to tell me a story about your life, just a story that reminds you of you, or a story that happened at some point in your life. And it doesn't have to be anything that has a lesson. It doesn't have to be anything big or heavy, just a story from some point in your life. And so I just want that. I just want a story about you.
Mm, mm, mm. I would toss up between two. Do you want one that's more dramatic or one that's more easy?
Um,
Your
well,
choice.
now, of course, you've intrigued me. So I would say you have to tell us both.
You're funny. Okay, okay. All right, let's see. We'll start with the easy one first. So I was working with a group called Musicians and Fine Artists for World Peace. And the director is a butterfly man. And he told me, Heidi, see the world through butterfly eyes. And that set me off. So I started to look around through butterfly eyes. And I one day was just finished getting off the phone with him. We were discussing how to bring peace to the world. You know, what could we do? And my daughter was about 2 or 3 at the time. And she was wearing this beautiful, purple flowery dress. And I look over at her and she's covered head to toe in butterflies. I kid you not. She was covered. There was at least 25 butterflies on her. It was amazing. So that's my graceful story. That yes, there's so much bigger than what's going on here.
Yeah.
The next story, my son and I, this is way back. So my son and I had beaten cancer. And the second time I had it, I healed it with love and light and prayer and qigong and Reiki and eating good food and swearing on my path. And I packed up my son and I gave away everything I owned and I moved to Mexico to teach and write a new record. Wow. So we were leaving. It was time to go on tour back across the country through California. And we found this swimming pool and there was all these families there. And there was this like old building. The river was going right through the building and it just looked so fun, right? So we get in where everybody was getting in. And I noticed they were all hopping out at this kind of ladder with a cement wall, at the end. And so the current was pretty quick. Okay. And I'm from Canada. So there wasn't a lot of water because it was really wintertime a lot where I'm from in Saskatchewan. And so it was kind of quick and we're swimming along and we're getting towards the ladder and my son is just kind of veering off a little too far. So I push him over to the ladder. I get him up to the ladder and he gets out, but I didn't catch the ladder. And I go around the corner and get whipped down a waterfall. And this thing is trucking it. It's not deep, but it's super rocky. And I can't get my footing. And Lori, I was getting the stuffing beat out of me, honestly. I was like, that's it. My life's over. I'm going to die crushed down a waterfall, I was like, oh my God, help me. And there's this man and this woman down on the bank to the left. And he sees me and I see him and I'm like, oh my God, right? And I'm like getting all beat up. He reaches over and pulls me out of the waterfall. And I have never been more grateful or felt how much we truly do need each other in my life. It was such a revelation, that a stranger could save my life like that. Yeah. And like, he was the only one around, him and his wife, and she didn't know what to do, but he took action and he saved me, and it was just like one of those moments where your whole life just like laser sharp, you get it, and off we went on tour to prove that if we trust the universe will take care of us 100%, it will. And I wrote it all down and it did. So.
You have just set an incredibly high bar for everyone else telling a story after you.
Oh,
yay! You've really now ruined it for everyone else.
Oh, come on now. They'll have good stories
Well,
too.
they'll have good stories too. Heidi, this has been exceptional. I just want to go over again those 3 things that you said were most important from your books, because those are really good life lessons for us to remember.
Right. Stay connected to the breath. That's what we're talking about, right? This is what you want?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Breathing in the love and breathing out the love, because that gets us into our place, into our space. First thing we do when we come here, last thing we do when we leave. And such a lesson right now, right? So precious, precious, and a privilege. It puts race and ethnicity way out of the system when you get down to the basics, which is privilege to breathe, right? It's a privilege to have this body. And then into the heart, see the light. And I say this humbly. I'm saying this humbly. It's true. Into the heart, and see the light lit, and allow it to fill your body and heal you. That came from the cancer that I was able to work out with God, right? I didn't do it by myself. These are the lessons that God taught me to share with others. And then the third, what was the third one? Breathing in the love, see the light in the heart. And I think really in this time right now is recognizing that we are each other's miracles. I think that that's the third and most important thing I can say right now, is that we are each other's miracles. And that passing on the first and second are very important to our friends and family, so that they can know how to heal themselves, so they can know how to light their cells. I'm fairly certain that lighting the cells in the body just heals people in way deeper ways than they could ever imagine. Yes?
Yes. And I think that healing is a complex, interesting thing, and it means all sorts of things.
It
So,
does.
Heidi,
Yeah.
thank you so much. This was a tremendous pleasure. You are incredible, and we are so glad to have you on our show.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to hear you this weekend when you do our concert. Really wonderful. And when this is done, I will share it with you so you can share it as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
really
so much.
appreciate what you're holding for everybody on the planet too, Lori. Thank you for being you and coming here and doing what you do here. It's awesome.
Thank you, Heidi, and I will talk to you soon.
Sounds perfect.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.